Fine, Vicente, how are you?
Ah, I got the Ola.
Well, since
Salsa, good. Thank you.
don't forget the switches, surely.
Paris, where do we have those
Oh,
private or facial mishpats? I made some copies, but now I see that the copies did not come out the clearest.
I don't know. Here, here's one. Yeah.
Okay, sure, try it.
You get on Safari, then.
Yeah, it's good.
Only one more?
Here, we'll have I have copies. Just
Yeah.
copies is not so clear, so I printed it. I changed the ink, but then it came out again bad. I guess it was the print online that I was printing from.
Unfortunately, that's easy.
Okay. So on this side tonight we're going to learn a new topic, a dinim that I found in Choshen Mishpat, which is about paying workers. Paying your workers, and there's a dinim about talin. About talin means the dinim of not of paying your not delaying payments of your workers.
It's applied to your smoking. Try works.
Important Shaila. Let's take a look. This is in the dinim of the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch at the very ending. These are actually the last halachas.
Okay, man.
I mean, I would assume there'd be some more, but
Read the old print.
Choshen Mishpat.
Video. That's
So there was at one point it was printed together with Shilas and Shuvas in the back, the first print of it. So it's like a little thicker. Just say Choshen Mishpat on it. Uh, wow, it's a thinner.
the older print. You know, the lighter down. Okay,
Thank you.
like, your younger brother was your.
That was a share. What topic did he discuss?
Probably if you had, I wouldn't just none. It's work.
He came also last night.
Huh?
He came last night.
Came Sunday morning. Sunday night, only went to his stage. He didn't talk.
Everybody else was out of town.
It's Tuesday, no.
So,
It's my relatives sometime. That's what he said. Well, it's a
Highlights from Sunday.
huh?
female.
Oh, that's the share Sunday.
Highlights. It's a highlight from Sunday.
Ah,
You were just talking about Sunday, right? Your brother came, so this
yeah,
is why
yeah.
I took a picture on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
There's a picture of
Okay.
me shaking your brother's hand after this year.
Ah,
Take a close. Do you see our hands? Take a closer look.
uh,
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
proof.
Alta Zoe. That's what Marosa says. Yep. Baruch Hashem. Good to see your
Hashem,
brother.
Hashem.
Anyways, good to see you.
I learn a lot from my younger brother.
You can start, anyways. With
But
permission,
on
yeah.
my side, I'm
Yes.
going to take a look. Simin Kuflun Aleph. I mean, page Kuflun Aleph. Sifid Aleph. These are dinim of Choshen Mishpat about dinim of Schirus. Geshem shemitzvah los ischar pulos adam bizmanei. Just like it's a mitzvah to pay someone on time. Vim echeroi, and if you delayed payment, oiver baloisa say oiver baloisa shenemer b'yoimei titein scharei. That's the mitzvah. I say b'yoimei titein scharei. V'loi savei alav hashemish. And the sun should not set without you paying him. That's the loisasa. In the very ending, the last halachas,
Pilot.
after everything in Choshen Mishpat. It says Hilchos She'elo Schiras. See it? Saying Shmuel. Kach mitzvah los schar behema or kelim bezmanei. The same halacha is that you have to pay for rental of someone's animal. You rented his animal, you rented his keli. You also over an aveda of Baal Tolin, Vim Eicharoi, and if you delay payment, over the lav, so we're in middle Sifyat Aleph, Shenem alei sashek sochir oni ve'evyoin ma'achecha. Oy migercha shebartzecha v'sharecha v'yoymei titzin schari. So can tell us that you're not allowed to hold back.
What's the behavior with that? It was rental.
You rent someone's animal, like,
Yeah.
today you rent someone's car.
Okay.
So you have
fuel?
any schirus of a odom, behema, or kelim, you pay for it. If you don't pay that schirus on time, you're over on a mitzaseh and a loisaseh.
How come nowadays nobody pay daily, weekly, 2 weeks, monthly?
Good question. So we're going to see. It's a very good shaila. Ma tamaloimer, the Gemara says, Ba'atzecha, Ma'aloi kol davar, Shufayvis aguf, Noig bein baris bein b'chutzaretz, Al-Rabbis kol davar shavatzecha. Where do we learn out that not only an Adam you're not allowed to, you have to pay bizman, but also the schar for his behemoth and for his kalim, you have to pay bizman? We're learning out because it says the word ba'atzecha. Migerecha she'ba'atzecha ba'atzecha, meaning from anything in the land, in your land. Now the shaila is, why does it say aretz over here? We know trumas, maises are things that are noyig in Eretz Yisrael. Something special to Eretz Yisrael, not outside Eretz Yisrael. Now we have a klal. Anytime something is chayvus haguf, it's a chiyuv on the person, not on the land. Then it doesn't matter if you're in Eretz Yisrael or in your chutzlaretz. You're not allowed to do it. You can't do it anywhere in the world. So over here, delaying payments from someone, an employee, is not something connected specifically to a land. It's a chayv on the guf. You have to make sure to pay on time. So therefore, it's also in chutzlaretz the same like in Eretz Yisrael. Oy bazoi. Why does it say the word ba'atzecha in your land? Mashma like dafka Eretz Yisrael. But it's not the case. It applies everywhere. So you learn out, the Braisa says, kol davar shavatzecha. The second to last line on the page. This comes to include anything which sits on your land. Not only the Adam, also the Behema and the Kalim, anything which is an Artzecha, you're over on it. And a lav if you don't pay on time for this rental. Avol al sfiros karka, if you rent land, which is not something which sits be'artzecha, it's on the land, but not the. It's the land itself. Sfiros karka yesh mi she'omer. There is one of the Rishonim which holds she'eni over she'nemer be'artzecha v'lo artzecha. Only things which are sitting on the land you're over, but not in the edits alone, the actual edits. Now, this shita, the Mechaber and the Alter Rebbe don't make a clear hachra who we paskin like. They leave off that there is a yesh misha oimer, which is the Rameh, Rabbi Moshe Levi, one of the Rishonim, which says this, but they don't say clearly what's the psak. So now the shaila will become like this: rent of land. You rent someone's land, property. If you don't pay back on time, you're not over on these lavim. You have to obviously pay, but you're not over on the lavim if you don't pay back on time. According to the Rameh, this shita. What will happen with your rent for your apartment, your house, which is on the land? It's attached to the karka. Mechuber la karka. Do we treat the rent payment, the schirus, for your bayis, for the apartment, to your landlord, is that begeder karka, or it's begeder metaltalin, like Adam, Behema, and Kalim, that you have to pay this man, or it doesn't fall into this rubric. So,
All the boys that they rent that three for days.
yeah. Now, Lamaisa, if we don't hold like this Yesh Misha Omer, there's no Bechal discussion.
The man have to be no. But he said, "Yes, you know, he still has to pay that."
Well, but then we say, I'll pay you in a week or two. I'll pay you later.
He's like, "Well, so about the land or not?"
Mm-hmm.
So let's sell to the true.
It's a lay selling.
It's the opposite, man, not the opposite.
Now, that's only according to that. This whole discussion, this Chakira, is only according to that Shita. According to the first Mahalik, the Pashta Mahalik in Shulchan Aruch, before we got to the Yesh Omer, which is called the Stam and the Stam and the Yesh Omer, the Stam of the Shulchan Aruch is that this is applicable to everything. We're not Mechalik, so then obviously you have to pay back on time. But according to the Rameh, we could be choiker whether he wants to patter land. Is this considered land or not? So the Ksais HaChoshen, the famous Ksais HaChoshen, it's us, brought down right over here, by the Poskim, says that over here in this case, you have to you don't treat it like it's talush. You would treat it like you would treat it like talush.
What, Kaka?
You would treat a building or a house not like karka. You treat it like talush.
Even though it's connected to the Kaka.
Even though it's connected, because he brings down that somewhere else in Shulchan Aruch that Amma has a suffix whether it's considered talush or is it considered karka metaltalin.
Right.
And the Mai said talush mechuber.
Right.
And he says that over here, where it's a suffix iser minatoida, we're definitely going to be mach. L'maisa achroinim say b'chalal, not from the Alter Rebbe, but the Rav Shulchan and others bring down the Shem the Gra that the chalal, the ikir mahalach is not like the Yesh Mishayiv. That we don't really hold the halacha like the shita. So ibazoi, it's b'chalal, not a shay. Or someone will come up, the lamdan will come up and say he doesn't have to pay back his land on a time because he'll go like the Rambeh and he'll tell you that it's mechuber l'karka, it's like karka. You'll get your money one day.
Yeah.
He doesn't pay the chalal. Well, he says, I'll pay you in a month. He says, I'm not paying you and I'm paying you, but he says, I'm not planning on paying you. Just, I'm going to pay it at a later time. How do you determine a ganef? Someone says, I'm going to pay you, but I'm paying you tomorrow.
Belongs to me. I'm paying.
I'm paying you. I'll pay you tomorrow.
It's fine.
So if you make a tanai, it's different. When it's talking about there's no tanai. If you have a contract, it's different. This contract is a lease. In normal cases, it's a lease. There's nothing made up as a time when you have to pay back. So do we say that like a schir yoim, we're going to learn schir and schilali, you have to pay them right away in the next time frame. He worked by day, you have to pay by night. For the night, before sunrise, do we give it those gedarim, or we say no? Again, all but even stop. If you made up a contract with good, you have to fulfill the contract, and the person could take you to court, so you're not paying up. But in a case where there was nothing made up, and when's the siyum hazman, so there could be discussion over there whether you're over right away by not paying. Shadows, where do you draw the line? Maybe. Anyways, Al Kapanim. This is the first entry to the Sifyud Beis. Ve'ezehu's manei. Half a page Kufla Beis. I apologize, the copies are not so clear. I tried it twice and it didn't come out so clear. Ve'ezehu's manei. When is the time frame to pay back? In Kol Samalacha B'yoyim. This is all the way it was in times of the Torah. Things a little changed a little bit, but let's read what essentially the halacha is. If you finished your work in the middle of the day, you have till the ending of that day to pay. The day went by, you didn't pay him, so it's now turned night. Over on the mitzvah, and you're also over on the lab because the shemesh did come. The shemesh did set. No, an essay. The Yom Titzchai is an essay, and a lab is Savayel Vashemesh. But what happens in Kol Samalacha La'achar Sheyatza Hayom? If he worked the whole day, and not only worked the whole day, he worked and it finished after the day's over, so it went into the night.
Overtime.
You have a whole night to pay up. Not including the morning, you have to pay before the morning. But you see over here that the lavim are each in different situations. The first lav, Shemesh, is talking about a schir yoim. So now you have the whole. I'm sorry. He finished his malacha b'yoim in the middle of the day. Leisava elav Shemesh.
The whole day.
The day by nightfall. But what happens if he worked the whole day, including up to the night?
For the morning.
So then you have till the morning. So there's a different pasuk. Don't hold it with you until the morning. This pasuk is talking about someone who works by day. Shu'oivid kol hayoim ad halayla. The schirus ain't a mishanas was safe. Then Torah, it doesn't necessarily work this way always in all situations today in modern day society. But schirus ain't a mishanas was safe. Depends on what fields. You don't pay up for a rental until the ending of the rental. You were not chayiv on the pasuk of Leisav Elav Hashemesh. Leisav Elav Hashemesh. I wasn't chayiv before the sun set. Koydim b'yis Hashemesh. Because the person worked the whole day. He worked up until night, and schidus, you don't have to pay till night, till the ending. So the pasuk L'Savav Hashemesh is not applicable here. When the sun sets, you still don't owe him anything, because he's continuing to work until nightfall. Now, the psukim that say that you have to pay him in that day, and the sun should not set, meaning the essay and the loisus are inferring you're paying the payil that day, by daytime, before it gets dark. What's that talking about? Someone who worked at night. He worked the whole night till the morning. So then about him there's two psukim. An essay that day given the schar. Don't let the sun set on it, meaning that there was a he was a night worker. So it seems that the essay and the loisase of Hashem are talking about a schir laila. He worked at night. You're obligated to pay him. Well, you have to pay him that day, and you can't let the sun set the next day before you pay him. The possibly solam pula sacher itchaad boiker that you should not keep it a whole night with you. Don't let the morning rise. Don't let sunrise before you pay him up. That's talking about someone who worked the whole day. Schir yoyim. Now I have a whole night to pay him. By the morning, before the morning comes, make sure you paid him up. So it's different cases. I want to point out that the Gemara, before we go further in the Sif, the Mishnah says over there in Bava Metzia, Daf Kufir Aleph over there, the Mishnah says like this. Kol HaKoivesh Schar Sochir, anyone who withholds the payments for his employee, he's over on Chamisha Lavin, the essay. 5 Lavin and 1 essay. So the Gemara asks, seemingly that really can't be. Because, let's say, some of the Lavin are talking about a Schir Yoin, and some of the Lavin discussing a Schir Laila. There are different scenarios. So how could it be that you're all over at one time? Seemingly it's not possible to do 5 in one shot with each socher. So the Gemara answers, Shame Schiros. Almahu, Chaduhu, I don't remember exact nusach in the Gemara, that it's all under the name of Schirus, the rubric of Schirus. So there is, the base of Rashi understands that answer is saying that yes, indeed, the Gemara answers, you're right. You're taka not able to be over all in one shot. The Mishnah put them together because they all fall under the Isser of Schirus, of that, the Isurim that go under the rubric of Schirus. So, but in Echanami, in particular cases, you're not over all five in one shot. However, the Smeh, one of the foremost commentaries on Choshen Mishpat, the Sefer Me'idas Sinai, the Smeh says that from the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch, it seems that no, you are indeed over on all five in one shot. And therefore he interprets the Gemara differently than Rashi. When they said when the Gemara answered and said that it's all under the name of Schirus, the Gemara meant to say yes. Because they are all under the title, the Torah puts them all under the Isser of rental, in each one you over on all the other lavim. They're inseparable, and you're over taka on Chamisha lavim and one essay. Whether it's a Schirlaila or it's a Schirya. By the way, from the Alter Rebbe, it doesn't seem that way. In Shulchan Aruch Alter Rebbe, that each one is mutually exclusive. Schiryoim, you're over on Leisalam Philosophy ad Boiker. If it's a Schir Laila, you're over on Yom Mitzvah Schare and Leisavei Olav Hashemesh. And there is also other psukim, Leisashik, Sochir, Oni Ve'evi Ma'afech, Beger Chashem Etzecha. These are psukim in Parshas Kedoshim and Parshas Ki Seitze. Now, that by the way, just agav the Sefer Chinuch from the Ra'or of Aaron Alevi writes in by Nagir Rivis and again another mitzvah I don't recall where he says the Torah says a number of lavim. Loisa says regarding one mitzvah, one aveda. Why is that the case? Say it one time. Alamai, the Torah is warning you because it's very important. So the Torah says it again a few times. So you can learn also over here, that the Torah says it a few times, a number of lavim, because this is a very important thing to pay on time.
Is it all lavim or is it lavim?
It is. There are different lavim. Yeah, they're all different lavim. But why the Torah have to repeat it? There's no new limud for each one, because it's so important that you're over. Now you transgress 5 counts. Now we're middle Sifyud Beis on Amud Kufnu Beis. Bizman Hazeh Sheschiri Yom Shalom Einem Oivdim Adalayla. People don't anymore work up until night. They stop before it gets dark. Sarich Lidlem Scharim Koidim Alayla. You have to pay them before nightfall, so you have a shorter time frame to pay up. Shalei Laver Abalei Sada Hashemesh. You don't want to be over at sunset comes and you didn't pay it. If the pile, even though generally those days they didn't work till nightfall, but if it happens to be they continued working further overtime after they were not obligated to, but they continued doing more work. The pile, since they continue working till night, you have more time. You don't have to pay them right away. How does it? You have a whole night till the morning. We go after whenever the time frame, whenever the malacha finished. The job finished that night. Now what happens in Muschir L'Shah, it was an hourly worker. You didn't hire them by day and nights for Muschir Shah, hour or two, less, half hour. So then, if it's by day, you have the rest of that day. If you didn't pay him by sunset, you'll be over. Not including Boiker, prior to Boiker. What happens in Nimshecha Malachtin Bayoim Libalayla? Someone who works day and night, goes daytime into the night, nighttime into the day. We didn't discuss that yet. It's all on Mishnayos, by the way, there. You always go after when the malacha finished. Whenever the malacha finished, that you have to pay that day or that night. V'chein schir shavua if you worked for a week. Schir chodesh for a month. You're employed for a year. How do you have to pay? You don't get now a year or a month to pay. Yatsa b'lachte b'yoyim. You finish by daytime. Shizman kolayim b'vad. You have to pay that day. Yatsa b'lay shizman kolayim b'vad. Agav the Mishnah. I don't know why the Alter Rebbe changed it, but in the Mishnah it says maybe he had different girsa. The Schir Shavua is written after Schir Shana. So Schir Shavua in the Mishnah means if you hired him for for a week, meaning 7 years, like a Shemitah. You hired him. Schir Yoim, Schir Shah, Schir Chodesh, Schir Shana, Schir Shavua means not only for a year, for 7 years. Sometimes the Chazal, Shavua means 7-year period. But the Alter Rebbe moves the Schir Shavua, those words prior to Schir Chodesh, maybe because he felt it's not common and that's not the pshat, and that Schir Shavua means weekly, hired for a week. So he put it prior, Schir Shavua, then month, week, month, day, week, month, and year.
Doesn't make a difference in life.
No, nice doesn't make a difference. I was just wondering, I tried to look up to see why he did it.
Find the Russian Shua.
I didn't look a lot, but I looked a little bit. I couldn't see why he changed it.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, it makes more sense that way, but it could be, if I'm not mistaken, that Rashi says Kishromi Shmita, so Rashi clearly had the Girsa the way we have it. Maybe the Sefer Levush maybe changed it also. I have to remember. I have to take a look. Now, what happens if you're the cleaners? Someone cleaned you have your Shmulik. Someone he cleaned he fixed your talus for you, and he brought it to you. When do you have to pay? By kablonis is different than schirus, right? You're not paying rental by hour; you're paying for the work. A kablon, a contractor. Sifyud Gimos is the same halacha. Chenenos talisei leuman l'sakna bekablanus. Contracting out, v'hivia loy b'yoyim, yishizman kol hayoyim b'vad. Hivia b'layla, yishizman kol halayla b'vad. Shekablonis he kischilus l'payim zman. Gabi, this aspect of paying on time, same status. Kablonis is like schilus. However, calls man shatalis biyaduman, as long as he's still holding on to your talus. Talus bechazal doesn't mean a talus shel mitzvah that a beged that they used to wrap themselves in. If it's still in the cleaners, you're not mechuyev as soon as the cleaners tells you that it's available to pick up. You get that email, that message now that you have to run there and I don't know that you have maybe you should, but you don't have to pay. You're not over on Baal Tolin if I didn't pay, won't pay right away. Because as long as he has your items, like a mashkin, he has something of yours, you're not over on Baal Tolin. So, even though it's sitting by Kama Yomim, on the last line, even he told him, bring your money and take your halif. Kivan sheyesh biyad u'mishaloi Kenegdoi. I know the Lashon is a little funny. Kenegdoi Skari, maybe it's supposed to be
the beggar that you
without a vav, maybe.
It's worth the money that
he has a beggar which is worth more than the cost of fixing it. Usually the item is not worth more than the cost of fixing it. You go buy yourself a new one. And he quoted by Sashik. This is not considered that you were oishik someone and you took from him something. All of these things don't apply. She'ein ze oishik. This is not considered how you're oishik.
because you have something in your hand.
Yeah. From here you can learn out from this din. If you gave him a mashkin, you had a worker, he doesn't have any item of yours. He worked for you for a few hours. You have to pay him up. If you gave him a mashkin that you're going to pay him, you're not over. Even though right now you have money to pay him, you could pay him, but you want to hold on this money to something else that you want to use. V'tzarich lahem. Shem ein loy mois, ein tzarich litem mashkin. And b'desidis k'may shizbar. The halacha is, we're going to learn later on, that if you don't have money to pay, the boss doesn't have money to pay, you're not over about telling. You don't have.
It's only if you have the money.
If you have the money, you're holding it back, his wages. I'm not holding it back. I don't have money. When I get the money, I'm going to give you. You're not over. Midas Siddis, we're going to learn that you have a chiyuv. Midas Siddis is to go and borrow money. Midas Siddis is to go borrow money to pay your employee.
If you can't pay.
Now, but in a case where you have money, if you gave him a mashkin, now I'm no longer over anymore because he has a mashkin. You're not over. That we learn out from this.
Rabbi, I worked for Mendes for 35 years. It's city. 1 week, he didn't have money to pay. He needed like $20,000 payroll. He went at night to Atlantic City. He can borrow money. He borrowed $25,000. Came the next day to pay everybody.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
What did he do? He gambled in the Atlantic City?
You go there once in a while. So
He played some machines and he got the money.
no, he paid.
That's very
He
nice.
came the next day and he paid everybody.
It's very impressive. Very impressive. So he knew the din.
This young man.
He knew the din
why
of the
did he
midas
choose
siddis of paying up on time. He knew the din. It is a midas siddis of borrowing to pay up on time.
His boss, why did you choose this halacha?
Because people want to hear these halachas.
His boss has to hear it.
No, I'm going through this right now.
Wow.
I'm off for a week.
Oh my. So now you have what to show him in the title.
Doesn't care.
have the money? Does he have the money?
Probably does.
He's sending more pizza.
Take him the pasuk. Show him the pasuk in the title.
Send more pizza.
Yes, the pay.
I was gonna come earlier, but I was parking my apartment, but
Maybe because of supply.
this is my share.
The price don't give you it, you don't pay one time. You're not.
So that he has to pay. It's your worker. He's waiting 5 weeks. And they
Waiting 5 weeks for
Pasuk
2
is
months.
very strict about the Torah is very strict about this. A lot of
Or you're Balabai. You have to see that.
right into the shear. We'll
Keep
talk
on.
about it for the shear. We'll tell them we're talking about something else.
See that I'll set him straight. Coming to a share.
Let him listen on the Zoom.
Now, Sif Yudalit. Aim Balabayis. There's a lot of details to the halacha, so we're going to learn a little bit more. And why I want to point out, the Mishabruta explains, we'll see more later, the Chavetz Chaim has a special sefer called Avas Chesed, which he has about all these halachas, about Ben Adam HaChaveri, halachas, where he goes through them. And so he has a lot on these dinim also. So he says, this midas chassidus of borrowing to pay the time is al derech people, when you borrow money to buy an esrog, for example. You borrow money to buy to do a mitzvah behitter. Same thing over here. Borrow money to do the mitzvah. So if you doubt, Eina balabayis oiver mishum bal talon el baboiker rishon. V'loy mishum leisav el hashemesh el be'erev rishon. Mina Torah, you're only over that first time period that went by. You're supposed to pay by night. When it comes to night, you're over. You're supposed to pay before the morning. When the morning hits,
It's a full on
you're over.
or just one night.
That time, you're right over that by condition. It's not every morning another.
Let's say 1 week
Every
you
night.
pay, so every night you order that.
Doesn't say that. Ki mashmash nemer loy talen pulasacher itcha. And yedei shad boiker. The fact that the Torah says you should not lay with. Salam means lean on Torah, lean. Linu poi halayla. The word lon, lean, means overnight. It says loy salim pulasacher itcha. You should not keep overnight the wages of your employee with you. I know it's till the morning. Why did the Torah have to continue and add 2 extra words? At biker until the morning. It's seemingly redundant saying the same thing twice. Don't hold it up till the morning. Till the morning again. Until the morning, only until the morning you're over on the Loisa Semen HaTorah. The first morning. The first goal.
Why would I have to say Richard?
Which word Rishon? No, it doesn't say. It says like someone pull a sachi eat chad boiker. That's the pasuk.
We know that ad book Rishon.
Till the first morning. The first time you were meant to pay him, you cross that time, you're over on the law.
Obvious first morning.
Right, but you're gonna.
It talks about Scher Yoim, no?
For example, I want to say, let's say you have a heter not to pay. There are sometimes heterim that you didn't have to pay in the first morning, right? Let's say you didn't have. So you didn't have then. Now you have the next day. And you didn't pay. You're not over Minat Torah now. The Minat Torah is limited to the first time. Minat Torah, you're going
The first required.
Yeah. But what happens if you had a legitimate reason why to bypass that time? So now you're not going to say that the Minat Torah time moves over to the next evening or night or morning.
It's only that day.
Yeah.
You got the money.
Yeah. However, Mikol Mokim Midivrei Kabbalah. Midivrei Kabbalah means from words of the Nevi'im. You are chayiv litmei, and you have to give right away.
Yeah, it's a double.
Mi'at shetoivei. Lo'olam. You always have to give it immediately as the person demands the money. All Eishiyasha or Lavsha Kabbalah. Anytime you delay it, you're over in a loisasaf Kabbalah, meaning the Divrei Nevi'im, because it says in the pasuk, in Mishlei, Al Toimer le don't tell your friend, go and come back. And tomorrow I'll give you. You have money. You have intention to just push him off. The Imam is doing intentionally pushing him off. You're over on this lav. This lav is sometimes called Baal Tasha. Chazal called this Baal Tasha. You cannot delay. Baal in Chazal means Al. Baal Tashtis, Baal Yimatzah. Just same idea, saying Lashon Kodesh Al. So you're over on Baal Tasha, on this Aveda V'Divrei Kabbalah. I want to point out the Shulchan Aruch actually used the word V'Divrei Soifrim, V'Drabbanan, but Al Rebbe is qualifying based on the Levush, the Sefer Levush. This V'Divrei Soifrim here is not just a regular Drabanan. It's V'Divrei Kabbalah. It's from the Nevi'im, which has a stronger status. In Lagabe, a lot of issues we give a choimer something which is V'Divrei Kabbalah. Lagabe Safik and Lagabe like we don't make a Gzeira. By the Rabbana, you don't make one Gzeira and half of another Gzeira. By Divrei Kabbalah, you do. We treat it like Divrei Torah. So Divrei Kabbalah is a higher status. Abel Mutarid, what happens if you're busy? I don't have time right now. You can go and come back when I'll have time. Meaning like this. If we're dealing with the Min HaTorah Isser of Baal Talin, that you don't have the right to say, I'm busy now. You can't say that. You have to pay him right away, otherwise you're over Baal Talin. Well, let's say you didn't have money then. So now I bypassed that time in HaTorah because I didn't have money. I legitimately didn't have money. Now, you have money, and the person asks you for the money, but I'm too busy right now.
I have a meeting.
I'm busy with something right now. I'm doing something I'm busy. I'm fixing my tire, and I'm doing something. And he's calling me for the money. So now we're dealing with an Isser of Midivrei Kabbalah. It's not Min HaTorah. Min HaTorah, you already bypassed that first morning, that first evening. So you're dealing with the Isser of Al Toimer L'Reacha Leich L'Shuv, meaning Baal Tasha. The Isser Baal Tasha is Ditcha, easier, pushed off easier. If you are tarted and ain't late night, you're allowed to push him off to later and say, I'll pay you in a few hours, I'll pay you a little bit later, come back when I have time. Even though you have the money, but you're pushing off. But you don't have an eitzah of, if you have money and you can't say I don't have time, like I'll be the Min HaTorah about Torah.
What I'm making in the middle. Now, when somebody bought money, you pay you, but you now have to pay. We are the more people if you can pay them because he's not paying. You're in the middle. You have workers, you want to pay them, but you can't pay them because somebody borrow money from you and you pay. You're not stuck.
If you don't have money, you don't have. If you don't have, you don't have. But
So
if
who is the first one? The guy
First come first. Whatever he borrow, he has to give back. Or the
no, I mean that person who owes you money.
he says he's gonna give it to me, so and then say,
Okay, it's not your fault, but you don't have money right now. What do you? You're not chayiv if you don't have money. Me, the citizens to figure out a way, anyways. I'm just saying, you're not chayiv. Minadin, I don't have money. If you don't have money, you can't tiny. If you have money, I have money, but I want to pay you for the money I'm coming in. That you can't tell them. That's if you don't. If you taka don't have money,
you know,
you're not.
but he's open because he's not paid. Okay.
That other
That
person.
person open.
Well, I don't know if it was chidus. Maybe he borrowed money. It's a different isser.
Right.
We're only dealing with. By the way, it's not the guy who purchases. I just wanted to say these halachas that we're discussing are schirus. When you pay, you rented his time. You're using the person's time. He's working for you, or you rented his behemoth or his kalim. You rented his car. You rented his saw, whatever it might be, his tools. So rentals, purchases are different. This whole issue of delaying payment of wages, specifically regarding rentals over here. A rental of a person means employees that you hired. We have a million.
Let's say I blow that. Blow went ahead and bought the pipe stuff. Walking into the job, the guy said I can't be. He paid money for the
By the way, the parts are different. The parts is purchasing, but the payment for him is Baltalim. There's more of a chiyuv to pay right away the wages for himself than the purchase. You have to pay for everything, but that's how the din kadima. If you don't have enough money right now, you have to pay for the wages.
The last company it's called COD. By delivery, you bring it. Huh?
Cash on delivery.
Yeah.
By the way, we're going to learn Mitzvah next week. We'll be mamshich. We'll be mamshich next week, but you only over on Baltolin when the person asks for payment. The person didn't send you a bill. He didn't come and ask you for payment. It's not. You're not over. You can go pay him, but you're not over on Baltolin. You can't say he's over on Baltolin if you didn't ask. So I don't know if he asked. It's to make sure you asked. You teveya him. Maybe he doesn't want him to be over. So it's not teveya him. They don't want to be over. They say over a story about the Chavetz Chaim that he was makbid. He wanted to be mekayim the mitzvah, of Yom Titin Scharei. So when he took a wagon driver, he didn't pay him before he finished. He waited till he finished the ride because he held if you pay before, you didn't yet owe him. The payment is only owed at the ending. I don't owe me. When he finished the job, I'll pay. So the Moshe Sternbach, the guy with the Shalayim, the Eidach he is that this story of the Chavetz Chaim he thinks was a hither. Because he says the Mikra Adin, he doesn't see why you can't pay early for a later payment. Lamafreya, it goes for that. So his understanding of this story was the Chavetz Chaim's own hither that he felt in his opinion. But some other people don't pay early, you're gonna get yourself into risk. The guy might drop you off. Don't know. Chavetz Chaim, I guess, is very trusting.
The Glali is in the pieces don't pay for the guy with his job.
Huh?
It sounds like that he also might not own the full amount yet until he finishes the job.
It's not so pashit. It's not so pashit. But the guy, you hired a taxi to take you to the oil. And in the middle, he decided no longer wants to take you all the way there. Are you chayiv to pay for halfway? That's not so pashit, he dropped you off the middle.
Just give him a sure, so then copy.
Maybe, but I'm not so sure. I didn't know legally what you're chayiv to pay. I don't know the law, but I'm just saying. I think that it comes to apartments. Now you have to pay in the beginning of the month. That's when they mechayiv you to pay in the beginning of the month. But I don't know if every situation you pay in the beginning. How does it work when you rent a car? When do they charge you? When does a charge go through in a hotel? I don't know. When does a charge go through? Some things you pay right away. Some things pay at the ending. There's different. I think it depends what you're talking about.
See, the cleaners, they don't charge. I hold the clothes. No, baby, I hold the clothes. Maybe I think
Only by Shmuel.
Kablanas, you say.
Today I picked up and I still own one.
No, they sell them Bulasachin.
But he was just,
I give him credit. But I told him it's good.
By the way, if the Balabais is obviously Moichel, it's different, and we learn that Shemur Halachis. If the minig is different in that place, you make up any kol tanai shebamam and kayim. Any condition you make is valid because he can be Moichel. So if you made up, or if someone gets hired by someone that he pays, when he gets money, the Yom HaShuk, pays on the Yom HaShuk. So you're not chayiv till the Yom HaShuk. Because you knew when you got hired that he doesn't pay until then. So maybe if you know that this employer always pays late.
If I would have known, I wouldn't have worked for it.
It's the girl thing, Colas told me the time they used to rush, they go get it now.
Thank you everyone for joining.
They said, maybe Shabbat don't make, Shabbat not included.
Thank you. Good to see you, Pinto. Rabbi Pinto Davis, thank you. Aryeh, Stephen, thank you. Good to see you.